What's up, guys? In this video we are going to talk about negative self-talk. Is there a place for it? Is it good? Is it bad? Should it be cut out altogether, or does it have some use in some situations? Okay, we're going to talk about that right now, but before we do, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please click that subscribe button. I try to make videos every single day about health, fitness, fasting, and I try to keep it non-mainstream so that it's interesting and you don't just hear the same stuff all the time on all the same YouTube channels, or all the different YouTube channels. Also, this video was brought to you by legendarysuitjamas.com. They make silk pajamas that look like suits, just like this one that I'm wearing right now. And if you've seen How I Met Your Mother, it is the same suit pajamas that Barney would wear occasionally, you know, the Doogie Howser guy. Okay? So, link in the description, check those out if you want. All right, now we're going to talk about negative self-talk. Okay? So, there are two kinds of negative self-talk. One is good and one is bad. The bad kind is the kind that keeps you down and does not inspire any sort of change or any sort of action. And the good kind is the kind that inspires action, actually causes you to get off your ass and do something. Now let's take fitness for an example. I'm sure many of you have had an experience where you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you don't look the way that you want to look, and you let loose with some negative self-talk. Okay, it's just kind of like instinctual. You look at yourself and you think, oh my God, you're disgusting, you look like shit, you're so fat. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I say that to myself all the time. Okay, literally every time, maybe not every time I look into the mirror, but if I've just had a big meal, or if I don't look exactly how I want to look, or maybe if I've been eating like shit for the past week and I can see that I've gained a little bit of weight, I'll look at myself and I'll be very hard on myself and I'll say, oh my God, you're disgusting, you look like shit, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now that's actually the good kind of negative self-talk, because when I do that, I motivate myself to continue working out and to continue going to the gym. And in fact, the whole reason actually that I even got into fitness in the first place is because when I was 13 years old, I was in PE class and there was a girl that I liked, and she said that I had fat arms because I had rolled my sleeves up on a hot day and I was just kind of lying there like this, and she looked at me and she's like, you have fat arms. And it really hurt. You know, I was very upset when I heard that. So I started working out, I started going to the gym, obviously, you know, worked arms twice as much as I worked everything else. And, you know, in my opinion, it was worth it, right? I needed that little push, because without that little push, I probably wouldn't have put as much work, as much effort into fitness as I do now. And I think that it's worth the time, but that's just me. Okay, now that's talk from somebody else. What about negative self-talk? What about when it comes from you? Well, I think that, you know, obviously we're all our own most harsh critic. And I think that can be a good thing, like I said, if it inspires you to actually do something about it. Which brings me to my next point. Okay, let's talk about the other type of negative self-talk where, you know, I would even classify this as realistic self-talk, or self-talk that's technically true. Right? Now, I guess the earlier example would also technically be true. Like, I could look at myself, maybe I'm not a fat piece of shit, maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration. But I feel like the second type of self-talk is most often disguised as truth. Now, the reason I am kind of thinking of it like that is because I was on Reddit earlier today, and I was in the snake diet subreddit, and I posted something in there. I have a new blog, and I posted an article to a link to one of the articles that I'd written, and somebody replied. It was all about motivation for losing weight. Okay, and somebody replied, they're like, staying positive is the hardest thing for me, because I used to be 400 pounds and I lost a bunch of weight and now I have a bunch of loose skin, and it seems like no matter what I try, I can't seem to get rid of this loose skin. And it's very demoralizing that I spent all this time working out, I spent all this time fasting, and you know, the best thing that I have to look forward to is me being thinner with a bunch of like loose skin hanging off of me. You know, I could totally sympathize with this person. I have never been 400 pounds. I don't think I have any loose skin to deal with. And I can't actually imagine what it would be like if I did. I mean, I know now what I would have to do to get rid of it. So when I was talking to this person, you know, anybody who replies to your comments on a post, if you're trying to promote yourself, you should always reply. Okay, you guys know that I pretty much 99 times out of 100 will reply to every single comment that people leave on my videos for that exact same reason. So I replied to this person and I said, you know, like straight up, man, you got to cut out the negative self-talk no matter what, you know, just like stop it, right? I was very polite. I didn't want to jump down this person's throat too much because I could tell they were hurting, but I just basically told them, I was like, listen, you know, technically you might be right, you know, theoretically, let's say, you know, there's no way to get rid of it, which is not true, but in this person's mind, it might be true. You know, if that's what you think, then that's what you're going to say, right? And even if it's realistic and even if it's true, it's still negative, you know? So what good is it really doing you to be right all the time if being right is causing you pain and keeping you in a bad spot, right? Like I have a friend of mine, and maybe you guys know somebody like this as well, who's a little bit of a know-it-all. And obviously with know-it-alls, they're gonna wanna argue all the time, and they're gonna want to, you know, state their opinion and why you're wrong and why they're right. I'm kind of a know-it-all also, right? I do this also, but I try to keep it positive. But anyway, this particular person that I'm thinking of, they generally, they don't keep it positive, and they get sometimes a little bit nasty with their arguments. And coincidentally, this person is also very nasty with their own self-talk. So what good is it really doing them, or anybody that has this kind of attitude and practices this kind of behavior? What good is it if you're right, if being right, you know, you don't get any points for being right, you don't like get a better spot in heaven, you don't necessarily make more money. Like I know a lot of people who are wrong about a lot of things and they make a ton of money, you know, who are wrong about, you know, you could be wrong in your belief about getting rid of loose skin. You could think, oh my God, okay, there's some way that I'm gonna do it. Let's say you go bald and you wanna like grow your hair back, right? Technically, there's no way to grow your hair back if you're bald. But if you work at it and if you try at it, you know, maybe you can do it, right? Science has always been proven wrong. Science is constantly changing and is constantly being proven wrong. Studies are proved wrong all the time. I mean, if you look at what we believed 50 years ago or 100 years ago, you'll see that it's totally different from what we believe today. Okay, and I'm sure in another 100 years, we'll look back on what we believe now and we'll see the same thing. Okay, so how do we actually put this into practice? How would you go about changing your self-talk so that it's less negative, or if it is negative, it actually causes you to do something about it? Okay, now there's a few options. The first one that comes to mind is by cranking up the volume on your negative self-talk so that it's so intense that you have no choice but to change. Okay, now this is something that I like to recommend to people if they have the flexibility in their lives to do it, which is if you're overweight and you move to a town with a beach, you move to an area that has a very strong beach culture, the negative self-talk in your head or, you know, to yourself in the mirror will naturally get louder and more common because you're going to be around a lot of people who are very fit and who are showing off their bodies. And when you live by the beach, it's kind of expected that you're also going to be showing off your body as well on a more regular basis than if you lived further inland, you know, middle America or whatever. Okay, so that's kind of a roundabout way of forcing yourself to say bad things about yourself that will actually lead to a good result. Okay, we always want to measure whether or not something is good by the result that we get. Okay, at least I do. Okay, I'm a very practical person, and yeah, okay, intentions matter. You know, I'm not saying that I don't know, whatever, some crazy example where you have bad intentions and the result is actually good, therefore it's good. I don't know. Okay, but if you know, for example, like random tangent, but eating raw meat. Okay, I'm a huge proponent of raw meat. I love eating raw meat. I eat that shit every single day because the result is very good. Now, obviously, if you tell most mainstream people that you eat raw meat, what are you gonna hear? No, it's very bad, it's totally wrong, you're gonna get diseases, you're gonna get sick to your stomach. But practically speaking, I feel better than I've ever felt in my entire life from eating raw meat. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is that if you have the result in mind, you give yourself this beating, essentially this verbal beating of negative self-talk to the point where you actually do something about it, then it's good. Okay, so, you know, the flip side of that, by the way, is that when you need to do the opposite of that as well. Like the most basic example that I can think of is that after the gym, you know, or even at the gym, right? When you're at the gym and you're lifting weights, why do gyms have mirrors? because you're allowed, you know, you can look at yourself when you're lifting weights, you can see your muscles flexing, you can see the veins popping out, you can see whatever, you know, the muscles popping through the skin, and it's a very pleasing thing to look at, I think, at least. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, most other people who go to the gym would agree that's one of the best parts about going to the gym, is you get to look at yourself in the mirror and watch yourself constantly get better and better looking as time goes on. Okay, so that's going to constantly be reinforcing positive self-talk. God, I hope this video is not too windy. Okay, and then the final thing is that, let's say you get back from the gym, right? And you're looking at yourself in the mirror with a pump, right? Somehow you guys don't know what a pump is. It's like after you work out, your muscles will be more swollen with blood, because when you work out, it forces blood to the muscles. And you're going to look more muscular when you have a pump, as opposed to after, you know, you just got out of bed or you haven't worked out. So when you look at yourself after you've got a pump and you think to yourself, yeah, man, I'm looking pretty good, you know, I'm looking pretty sexy today. That's the opposite, right? You're reinforcing yourself, you're reinforcing certain behaviors with positive self-talk. Okay, so if that made any sense to you, let me know. Give me some examples. Like, what do you guys think of self-talk? Like, what do you say to yourself to get yourself motivated to actually do something? And what is an example of a time where you have used negative self-talk to get yourself, you know, to take action on something? Okay, let me know in a comment, subscribe, go check out Legendary Suit Jamas, link in the description. Peace.